Yo, yo, yo.
So this is what the trailer does. You can kind of see. So this is going to allow us to actually pick up two 20-foots or one 40-foot. Can be high cube or standard, doesn't really matter. And drop them. So we had them install a winch up at the top up there. It's a 16,000 pound winch. Most high cubes, if you watch some of our old videos where we've kind of gone over specs, the high cube 40-foot weighs about just shy of 9,000 pounds. And then like a 40-foot standard is like 8,000, maybe a little bit under. The 20-foots are only like 40. Actually, it says it right there. Tare weight on, oh, of course it's scratched. The tare weight, I want to say, is either 37 or 47 on the, I think it's 37 on the 3,700 pounds on the 20-foots. I still can't think very clearly today. However, I got my Blackout coffee going. Link in the description. We got the trailer here. We got the other one moved over there. It's good to be back in Texas. I woke up to a bunch of bunny rabbits, turkeys, and random animals, which reminds me of a crazy story. So I gotta tell this one. I can't believe I didn't. It was in the moment, and I was trying to race, and I got to Jackson, Mississippi, and stayed in a hotel there for a day. But on my way there, I was hauling butt, trying to get there because I'm not a big fan of driving like late at night, and I was in the middle of nowhere. So I was like, and I got on the road early, so I was hoping to get a good night's sleep, and I prefer to like wake up at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. and just start getting on the road. But I'm hauling butt, trying to get towards the hotel. It's already dusk, and I come across like everybody slamming on their brakes, and a semi truck in the center of the it was like kind of like a 2-lane highway, but everyone still does like 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, and it was just a grassy median. And I came across a semi-truck in the middle, and I'm like, I'm trying to get there. I'm like, all right, let me just pull over real quick and see if everyone's all right. And as I get closer and I start pulling over, I see that there's like a car or a truck attached to the front of the semi-truck. And I mean, this thing is like disintegrated. So I pull up all the way to the front, and I have strobe lights all over my truck. So it's a good thing for directing traffic or even getting, people to just slow down. So I turn on all my strobes real quick, and I kind of pull off, and I'm blocking the lane next to it. And I asked what I assumed was the semi-truck driver, because he had one of his earpieces in, and most of the time that's how they drive around, with like a Bluetooth. So I asked him, I'm like, hey, is everybody all right? And he just points at the car and shrugs like, are you kidding me? Look at the car. And I'm like, well, has anyone checked on him? Or are the people out? And he's like, he just shrugs again. I'm like, nobody's even gone to this car yet? And they just assumed the guy was dead. So I bail out of my truck, and I run over. I don't know how long it's been since this accident happened, but I'm guessing it's not too long, but long enough that there's a lot of people standing around there. So I reach in, I put my hand on his back, and he's breathing, and he's, somehow he's alive. And he doesn't actually look like, at first thing, like you don't see a leg bent backwards or an arm, the wrong direction. It could have been a lot worse, 1,000 times worse, with how bad his whole driver's side is completely crushed. So like I kind of like crawl through the passenger window, and he's like coming to, and I'm like, hey buddy, can you tell me your name? And the first time the response was like just kind of like mumbling. So I kept asking him, just letting him know, hey, we're there. There's the ambulance and fire are on their way. I finally get to a point where he starts like talking, and he's like, brother, can you get me out of here? And I'm like, I just don't want to move you right now, man. Like, the good news is you're alive. And honestly, the only thing I can think of that why he survived this accident was that he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. So he took the full force of a semi-truck at probably like 60 or 70 miles an hour into his driver's door, and the whole side of his car is literally gone, and he's laying in the passenger seat. So had he been wearing his seatbelt, he would have been trapped in the driver's seat location, just crushed. And his legs, so like he's trying to move because he's kind of like upside down. So the blood's obviously flowing to his head. So at the same time, you don't want to move him. You also don't want him hanging upside down like that. So I try to just lift him up a little bit and prop his head on the windowsill. And because he's moving around anyway, it's better to get him comfortable and try and maintain that position that it is to sit there and he's, trying to free himself. So I grabbed somebody to get a towel or anything that we can put between his head and the window frame. At this point, he's, now fully talking. And I'm like, dude, this is insane, man. So I let somebody else kind of take control, like comforting him for a second. And I jump up into the bed. At this point, I realized it was a pickup truck. And the whole bed is like disconnected from the back window. So I kind of crawl in through there and I start assessing, like, is there an easy way to get his legs out that are kind of pinned between the center console and the front of the semi truck? There's not really that easy of a way. And honestly, I think the best thing to do would have just been to try to get back into the semi truck and just back up, or hook up a winch to the front of the truck and his truck and just slightly pull it forward enough that the police and fire can get the jaws of life to the other side of his car, cut the door off, pull it off, and then free him from that side. Either way, it was going to take a lot of work to get him out of there, because it looked like his legs were pinned pretty good, but not crushed. So I think honestly it was like to the point where this guy ended up being insanely lucky. So at this point now the fire trucks are pulling up, the ambulances are pulling up. There's too many people. So I'm like, you know what? I've done everything I can do here. I'm gonna get out of the way. And I don't need my truck for traffic anymore. Now the police, the fire had come and like surrounded my truck and blocked off now the whole entire road. So I was just like, hey, I'm out of here, and jumped in my truck and took off. But it was wild. It was an eventful road trip, but God willing, that dude survived and was a lucky day. Unlucky, but really lucky. It could have been a lot worse. So that's my road trip story. Everything else, pretty standard. I still have to drive to what was going to be El Paso, which is like 8 hours or almost 9 hours from San Antonio here and back. So that would have been what, 16 to 18 hours, somewhere in there, round trip. And then now the guys say that they don't know if they can meet me right now. So I might have to drive a full 16 hours each way to go get the other trailer in El Paso, and then turn around and drive from San Antonio back to West Palm Beach to bring that trailer. This is a ton of driving. So today I'm gonna move some trailers around, try and get a few things done around here, and figure out if this is what I want to do or just wait until these guys can get closer. So yep, I'm gonna get back to it. Container Luxury out.